everyone, and welcome to Zest to Zen with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Have you ever looked like you had it all together on the outside, but inside felt completely drained, anxious, or disconnected from your own joy? If so, today's episode is going to speak straight to your heart. I am so excited to introduce the incredible Sally, an emotional empowerment coach, keynote speaker, and the founder of Coaching Illumination Limited. She helps high achieving professionals move from emotional exhaustion to emotional empowerment. Through the science of psychology and neuroscience, she teaches how to rewire the brain's emotional patterns so that joy, confidence, and calm become our natural state of being. May this episode remind us all that peace, empowerment, and joy are not distant goals. They are states that we reawaken within over and over again. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Shel. What a lovely introduction. And I love how you mentioned about how these are such concepts that we can completely understand are available to all of us, and that we can all have that opportunity. So yeah, just wonderful to be able to connect over that. That's great.
Oh, you are so welcome. And just thinking about that, just in this brief, obviously we've messaged, but in this brief time connecting with you in person, which is lovely. I would love you to expand on it, but I can already feel the difference between emotional control or something and empowerment. I can really feel that from you. So I would just love you to just share a little bit about that and how maybe it came about, how you began to focus on that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, of course. It's really interesting, the idea of emotional control, isn't it? And I think that for me, I spent years and years in a place of trying to control my emotional experience and not really knowing how to. Trying lots of things that were outside of myself. And I don't view that time with any judgment at all. I simply didn't have the opportunity to know any other way. But yes, I used to try and emotionally control my experience by providing the best outcomes that I could outside of myself, to do the maximum job of pleasing, or the maximum job of achieving, the maximum job of kind of perfectionist. You know, I was all the P's really: productivity, pleasing, and perfectionism. I was all of them.
I think we can all relate.
and I'd add in pressure there as well.
Oh yeah,
that's the pressure. So yeah, quite a lot going on, and I recognise now that what I was trying to achieve in the best possible way I knew how at that point was to have some kind of emotional control over how I felt. But yes, once I realised that actually I was looking for an interior solution, suddenly kind of the relief and excitement actually that came from recognising that this was something very much within my grasp, that this was something that I could master for myself, for reasons that would also contribute to those around me, but contribute to myself and my experience. I think having felt for so long that the emotions I sought were outside of me and that I was trying to grapple them and never quite succeeding, led me to a place where now I just still get to enjoy the joy that comes from being fortunate enough to have that experience now, where it's empowering me from inside. So yes, you're right. It's a very significant difference in my experience, and it's a real privilege to now spread the word about what's possible.
That's so beautiful, and I can really feel that. Would you say that because when we think of control, it's kind of like we're trying to not manipulate, but yeah, literally control and sometimes I would say suppress. So would you say that the emotional empowerment, just to make sure that I'm like hearing it clearly, and I'm sure there isn't an exact answer, but would you say the emotional empowerment will come from just really being at peace and accepting that, okay, today this is how I'm feeling, and yeah? Or
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think that yes, there's an element of understanding that the circumstances around us are going to
mm.
happen, and that a lot of those will be outside of our control.
Yeah.
But the reason that luckily doesn't leave us in an emotionally disempowered place is because actually our brain is the source of all our emotions and where all our emotions are generated. So there's a relief from the kind of external control of trying to manipulate circumstances. But also, one of the fundamental kind of elements that I teach my clients really early on is emotional acceptance and understanding, as you've said, that your brain will. I always talk to my clients about almost our brain being kind of full of train tracks. They take a long time to lay down, but once they're there, they're very efficiently used. And our brain is very good at running train tracks and producing emotions on automatic. And so a lot of the early work is about recognizing our experience with real compassion and kind of almost curious observation, where often we have been raised to have quite a lot of social cultural ideas about our emotional experience. The idea that might, if our brain is producing certain emotions, that might mean we're somehow lacking or weak or failing. Whereas actually, yes, to come back to your point about suppression, when our brain is producing emotions in our body, and those are physical sensations, actually engaging with those and supporting ourselves in recognizing them, allowing them to process and pass, is such a critical skill in terms of reducing daily intensity and allowing those emotions to process and pass in a way that essentially best serves us. Because you're right, when we're repressing, that's often our best strategy. It often comes from a very well-meaning place, and I spent years doing that. But what I now recognize is that it's never a long-term strategy that actually serves us as well as other options.
Yeah.
So yes, it's curious kind engagement, I would say, early on.
I love that. Thank you so much for explaining that, Sally. And I think, that's super important, and it makes sense because yeah, like there's still, I always think, something hidden in the background that we're kind of like trying to either play down or something. And I also don't believe that we should put all the different emotions into good and bad and things like that. Like we're naturally here to have the whole spectrum of emotions, which I think is super important. But what I'm getting from what you've said is almost like going to the gym. We need to build that muscle. We need to really like reprogram that brain, start firing off new train tracks, new routes. And so yeah, I can see how your work is super powerful. Because yeah, we can only often go as far as we know. So yeah, I really love that. What would you say was like a light bulb moment for you? I know I know you can't just say one. I'm sure there's been lots, but something that really made you think like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. So for me, and the whole reason that I'm kind of have this absolute privilege now of supporting other people with rebuilding their brain is because I'm the product of my own experience.
Yeah.
And the rebuilding theme kind of goes through this journey. So I had a background in education anyway, so I've always been very interested in what we can teach our brain to do, what our brain is capable of, and where education can get us as an investment in ourselves. And I feel really passionate about that. So my background was always to be very pro-education. And then I had my two children, my husband was traveling internationally with work, and we had a discussion about what might be the best next steps for us. I was in a privileged position where we had some options about what we might decide to do. And actually it was the right decision for us at that moment that I would take a step away from education and that I would be more available to my two girls. So we talked about what that might look like as a jigsaw piece, how could I provide my best contribution? And we decided that we were very lucky where we were living, but it wasn't a house that would accommodate a growing family. So again, this kind of educational side, I taught myself how to do building work. So I built our
Wow.
extension project, our conversion project, taught myself plastering and electrics and plumbing, and with the support of some critical people to sign things
Yeah.
off. And you never do anything alone, do you? But that's kind of started the building theme. But the issue was that I was with my brain all day, every day,
Mm.
and I suddenly started thinking, I'm in such a privileged position. I'm lucky enough to be in a relationship that's secure, stable, and loving. I have two healthy children who I really hope to have. I have financial security. I'm making choices about what I'm doing with my time and my career. So why is my emotional experience not matching the fact that my circumstances actually are pretty favourable right now? And I remember watching the cement mixer go round for like the 500th time. And I remember thinking, if I could build a house, I wonder if I can build a new emotional experience. And
Just to, I love this, by the way. I want you to continue, but I'm just imagining your husband in this process, like, no, this is not what I was imagining. Like, I'm imagining. Anyway, I love this. Thank you. Please keep going. This is amazing.
but you're right.
So empowering.
I mean, basically, I am a person with no box, right? So,
I love it. I love it.
so yeah, you're right. My husband has definitely shown me he loves me for me, no matter what box I'm in. But yeah, so you can imagine like the cement dust and everything going everywhere.
Sorry. I'm just imagining you doing the orders and he'd be like, why have we got a cement mixer now? What's happening? I'm just redoing the whole house. No, that's not what I asked you to do.
He definitely had tool envy to get started.
That's what I mean. I bet he came home from work and was like, yeah, I'm going to do something as well. Like this is But anyway, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You're right. It was a bit of a transition. He was very good at sharing the garage.
His only man cave that you're taking over while you were at home.
Yeah, the man cave doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, it's a mutual cave. Mutual cave.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, and I think because I've always been very practical, and you know my dad, who I loved to bits, his idea of quality time growing up was doing practical things together. So practicality and education, you know, there's a reason why my brain kind of went there. And I've always been really analytical. You know, I love, you know, it's such a pleasure to meet you and chat with you about possibility and opportunity and curiosity, right? Because my brain just loves all of that. I love thinking about what's possible. And mainly to facilitate others, you know, what's possible for them is what really gets me up in the morning. But yes, so I had no intentions of starting a business at all. That wasn't my background whatsoever. But when I started having that opportunity where I was doing the building work, but I kind of learnt all of that, so I had some mental space available, and my graduate research skills just went back to psychological theory, neuroscience, and I was interested in the practical application. You know, what were the actual practical steps that would change my brain? And when it started responding, you know, obviously I had to do a lot of implementation and analysis and work out what worked well, what worked not so well, why it was effective. But as things started to build in traction and my brain started producing emotions that I'd never as an adult remembered experiencing, I was absolutely blown away. And I think because my educationalist hat was thinking that this means this is possible, you know, this is a teachable thing. When my professional friends said, oh, can I have a bit of that, please? It was kind of a natural evolution, really, where it became an educational framework because I had no idea that emotions were something that you could teach your brain to deliver.
I love it. I love all that you're sharing.
Oh,
and it really shows like the power of the mind. And another thing that I really, really like that I think just, I don't know, it's just come to my mind now, and I feel like when things come through, like they're important to express, is I think sometimes, and this is not saying for everyone, but there's this like almost I don't want to say pressure, but on women of like going home and looking, being home with the children and things like that, especially after you've built your career and stuff. And I think you've just really showed that, the opportunities, the things that are going to enter our lives, the things we can do with our time are infinite. There's so much. Like, I think, we're almost sometimes programmed that like we go and we do this and this is the only way, but you've literally shown, and even the unfolding of what you did, like how, like even the process of A to B, which we know is never A to B, it's always, like it's not even a linear process. It's incredible.
No.
But I think that's the beauty of it, is the trust in the unfolding. You just really ran with something that you were passionate about, interested in, and then it ended up being something so much more than that. And I think that's incredible.
Thank you. I think I was quite lucky that my brain was really keen to be very analytical, and I think all these things, they have pros and cons, don't they? Yeah. So one of the downsides is being like super analytical. That was emotionally intense for a lot of years. So, yeah. It's rather than it being that, I'm therefore winning at life, I'd say it's more just, having an opportunity to ask yourself what your experience is and whether it's working for you for reasons that serve you.
Yeah.
And I think, had I not had that period of my time when I was so in my own company, because my whole thought processes were about other people and how I could provide what I hoped would give me the emotions I was looking through others, I think it was also an unusual set of circumstances that led me to that opportunity. And I often think now, how many minutes, hours, days, years I would have spent navigating so much emotional weight as a consequence. Yeah. And why, for me, this is, it's just a delight to connect with you today, because this is all about spreading the word about opportunity, isn't it? It's not for us to say how somebody else should think or should feel. It's more just sharing what's possible.
Yeah.
And so that people can make informed choices about their experience and what their brain is capable of emotionally.
Absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of like you sharing your journey, because it's not like and we do have our frameworks and things, of course, that you're going to have things that you offer and more structured ways, but ultimately someone could just be listening now and just say, I really want to connect with this woman, because more than your story, it's the mindset, and the mindset is key. And that's why I thrive doing this, because it's not just creating a podcast. I get to connect and learn more and then share that with others, and that to me is something that's priceless. Because constantly our brain, particularly even my own brain, is evolving and expanding, and even if I read your bio, even if I look on your LinkedIn, anything about you, we can never determine exactly what is going to come out. And I think that's the beauty of it. I would never think we're going to be talking about building and a cement mixer, but it all has a purpose. And I think it's just incredible. And I love what you're doing.
I think the element, particularly that you were mentioning there, about how education is something that you really value, and I always think you learn something from everyone, don't you?
Absolutely.
And what I've realised, sorry,
good or bad, it's
exactly,
all wisdom.
Exactly.
All wisdom.
You always learn something, good or bad. And for me, I think what I've realised as well is that when you are teaching your brain new ideas or new capabilities, that rush of dopamine is so worth fighting for, because we look for pleasure and emotional pleasure or emotional release in ways often that don't serve us. Yeah. I can remember when I had my second daughter, and she was quite poorly as a little baby, and I was alone a lot with her, and my emotional intensity was significant at that point. And I remember, clocking down the minutes to be able to have a glass of wine in the evening, or to almost kind of give myself that ability to have some emotional relief. And what I realise now is that actually I don't judge myself for doing that. Again, I was just, solving solving each day as it came with the best way that I could. But what I recognise now is that actually a lot of sources of pleasure were lacking because I hadn't yet had the opportunity to consider them. And actually I've realised that when you teach your brain something new and you have that new experience, it's such a healthy rush of dopamine that's worth chasing, I think, that will always keep me an educationalist, because I just think, that is the beauty of having experiences in life, isn't it, in terms of what you take from them and how you move forward in a way that feels your life is growing in significance in terms of relationship with yourself.
Absolutely. And like, even as you say that, and I love the way, I know like when we're in it it's very different, but like to reflect upon it, and even that was a gem for you. That was a beautiful unfolding and experience, and if you maybe didn't really feel into that and kind of, everything's perfect and the suppression or something, then it could have come out an entirely different way. So again, it's like, I think on reflection and even during, to feel how you feel without the judgment, and just know that at some point there's always a blessing hidden in everything. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, my pleasure. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The judgment that we can often put on the emotions that we're experiencing rather than just being, and considering that is understandable. I used to layer on constant, relentless positivity. I was like, my friends used to joke that I should start an app where people would text me their challenging situations and I'd say, here's all the reasons why it's brilliant. And that was my way of coping. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think anything we can do that allows people to feel more comfortable with relating their experience, and as you quite appropriately mentioned, that full spectrum of behaviour, of emotion, and seeing those as perhaps more challenging or less challenging, but all of them being appropriate and relevant, is really helpful, I think.
I think that really summarizes as well not summarizes, because nothing's ever like conclusion, but actually from a science perspective, I'm sure you could disagree with that, but just this
no, I'm all in
the infinite possibilities. But, I would say that would be going from the struggle, labeling something as struggle, to the self-liberation of still as much as possible, still seeing some beauty in what we might be labeling as a struggle, of actually, okay, in this moment, and it's actually making me think about an article I wrote recently of a what if, and the fear. Okay, can you actually, in this moment, despite all that's happening around you, can you think of 3 things that could potentially be a really incredible outcome of this situation, that your brain can relate to, not something too far out there, just a little thing, and I think even that in itself is liberating.
Definitely, and it's amazing, isn't it, that we can kind of observe our own brain's behaviour and talk to it about how we want it to kind of show up for us. And one question I always come back to myself with when I'm navigating a challenging emotion, or I suggest to my clients do, is thinking, what would actually support me in this moment? What's one small thing that I could do that would feel supportive? And it's amazing how we spend so much time thinking about other people and how we can support them. And it's amazing how our brain will quite often respond because it knows what support looks like. And I've always found that amazing, that actually, even if sometimes things can feel really significantly out of our control and we haven't yet had an opportunity to re-engage with those in a different way, just knowing that we can always ask our brain what's one small way that we can support ourselves is almost imagining, when you sit down next to a close friend and you're letting them offload and you're giving, that compassion and that kind suggestion. I always think, you're almost sitting down next to yourself, aren't you, as your own best friend, and saying, maybe one little suggestion could be this. And it's not a massive, big change or intervention. It's just a small moment that shows that you matter and your experience matters.
Absolutely, and even as you express that, like thinking about, I feel like the synchronicity between us both of like always wondering the why, and the how or whatever. But even as you express that, I was thinking, yeah, I wonder why. And it's not saying everyone, but we can so instantly and almost like without even thinking, go straight into that mode for another. But what is that like? Not blockage, but that filter or that kind of resistance that it isn't as smooth. But if we can do that for another, why can't we do it for ourselves? So my mind's now like, interesting.
And you're absolutely right. It's our brain gets very good at running the programs that it's used to running. It's a bit like the Amazon delivery driver
Yeah.
has delivered our brain, and it's running on certain ways, certain programs, isn't it? And like you say, we're socially supported from very young to think about how we can show up for other people in a way that benefits them. And I think that's wonderful. It builds society, builds communities. But you're right. I think without intervention, our brain naturally doesn't think about how to do that for ourselves.
Yeah. Wow, it's been such a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and
No,
I
me
know
too.
that even more is going to keep unfolding as the day goes on because it's just one of those really, really beautiful, empowering conversations. So thank you so much, Sally.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I'm going to put all your details in the notes, but if there's anything in particular that you want to share that people can reach out to you for, anything you're offering right now,
Oh,
please feel free to use the time.
Okay, well, hello everybody. It's been lovely to join Shel today. If the conversations we've been having, have really spoken to you and you're looking for more support, then by all means connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll find me as Sally Stockreisser. I regularly share content from a place of support. I have a free email community where we take practical steps each week. So you can find all my details on my LinkedIn page, but just know that I'm very much here in support.
Yeah, beautiful. And more than that, it's just you as a person. I can see how your friends like call you Miss Positivity and love like being around you because you really do have that beautiful like energy, and I'm really happy we
Oh,
connected
thank you.
today. You're so welcome. So one last thing, if there's not anything else that you feel like you need to share right now, that I always ask my guests before they go, if there was anything just off the top of your head that you feel someone listening right now would really benefit from hearing, what would you tell them?
I would say you are completely wonderful, even if your brain disagrees at the moment.
Yes! Yes! I love it. I love it. We love you, brain, but shh. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Shel. I just think it's wonderful the way you bring people together over this subject area. It's a real honour and privilege to have joined you. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you so much. And yeah, I know lots of people will be really, really benefiting from this episode.
Oh, I hope so. Thank you so much.